We are live. We are on the interwebs of YouTube for some what I like to call whiskey talk and friendship, which Bart's not here, so he can't get offended by it.
Yeah.
And joining me early on in Bart and I's live stream hangouts, we did a live stream with Trenny C. They were live streaming from C's house. He's still on AOL broadband dial-up network connection.
Yeah.
And one of the neighbors was on their Facebook page, so the internet connection was kind of staticky. Trenny and C have been wanting to get back into the live stream game, and Trenny, like Bart, is home in bed. C is home in bed, so it's just me and Trenny, half of the dummies, and half of Trenny and C.
The Trenny and Scott show.
That's it.
Yeah, we got to write a jingle.
Go ahead and just tell a little bit about yourself, Trenny, though, where you're at. We talked to Trenny and C the show, so just give a little teaser here.
Yeah, well, Trenny and C, we started a couple years ago. We did that live stream with you guys, and the quality was so terrible, and it sucks because we were like really on that night, and I think we, there's some good banter, and I think it was like so, anyways, C can't make it because, again, his place is AOL dial-up, and I'm about an hour north of him right now where we, vast open fields of Wi-Fi everywhere. So, and we've been doing Trenny C for a couple of years. We hope to actually do like a full-out Trenny C show soon. And obviously start like the Trenny C Scotch Test Dummies Whiskey Con convention somewhere in middle America, and everyone can come pay exorbitant amounts of money to our festival that we're going to put on together. But
I like the way you talk.
Yeah. So tonight we've got a couple of cool different whiskeys. We've got the Magnus, which I got in front of me here, the Highland Park. And you, Scott, show them the Union 52 bottle.
Well, this was a while back after our first live stream. You sent us samples of Union 52.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to pour that. And actually, we'll look at this one first.
Yeah, might as well. Let's get this guy out of the way.
Yeah, you've got yours poured, but tell me a little bit about the Union 52.
Well, Union 52. So what it is Wiser's is a Canadian whiskey. Dr. Don is the master distiller there. Cool guy. And he makes some fantastic products. Like Wiser's do Lot 40, and they do Pike Creek, and then they do Wiser's and a couple of other expressions. But the Wiser's Union 52, what it is it's a 16-year-old. Actually, so every year in BC, British Columbia, Canada, we have the spirit release that happens. And we get these kind of rare whiskeys for around these parts. And one year we got the Union 52. I think it was last year. Where is it here? Oh, shit, did I grab the wrong one? Probably. Oh, here it is.
Well, C's not there to keep you organized, so probably.
Yeah, exactly. He's always got it figured out. Okay, here we go. Union 52. What it is it's a 16-year-old Canadian Wiser's mixed in with a 52-year-old Highland single malt Scotch. So they kind of blend it together. I'm sure there's probably maybe they get a dropper and put a couple of drops into like a couple of barrels, but you can definitely smell the kind of the herbal notes, like the Highland sort of herbal notes of the single malt on there, but it's got that definite Canadian character. So all you people out there that don't know Canadian whiskey, there's some good stuff coming out right now, and a lot of it's coming from Wiser's.
Oh, the nose
is this your first taste
of this? Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
What's the ABV on it?
This guy is I can't remember. I think it's 43% though. Yeah. It might take a while to open up. What are you getting? You're laughing at it.
Swami asked, "Where's the loud one?" And I'm pretty sure he's referring to Bart.
Oh, okay, okay. Or C. Really, it could be both at this point.
Yeah. Really a heavy maltiness or a grassiness on the nose, and just light citrus, like a lemongrass, even.
Yeah. Do you know what? On this one, it's funny because I get this kind of weirdly like confectionery style fruit on it, like almost like a call C doesn't get this with me, but I find like a blueberry almost on it, and I've never smelt that in a whiskey before. And I found this one really, really unique that way.
Well, I've gotten blueberry before, but it's been on, sherried scotches.
Yeah,
I'm
like
not.
those McDonald's baked like blueberry pies.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like that because there's a bit of that doughiness and like fresh bakedness to it.
You know what I love about those blueberry pies?
What's that?
The icing that's on there, just the frosting.
Oh yeah, yeah, amazing, amazing. McDonald's always makes it fresh and right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But there's also like a definite like characteristics of Canadian whiskey, which is the toffee. There's kind of a vanilla bean ice cream kind of thing going on the nose.
Yeah, we've got a
It has
vanilla
that
bean.
herbalness to it too.
Yeah. And there's some tropical fruits in there on the palate
Yeah, yeah.
with it. Almost like a banana and a mango,
Yeah.
pineapple,
There's big
papaya.
fruit. There's big fruit on there.
Yeah. Where's Whiskey Dick at? Is he tuning in, or did he have too much to drink on his live stream?
Oh, he should be chatting up a storm right now. Do we have any comments
Well,
on there?
let's this is outside of Bart and I usually go live on Sundays. Trenny and C have been wanting to get into the live streams again, and they hit us up, said, "Hey," and I think Wednesday, Thursday nights are the best options for you. Is that right?
Well, like I just have to ask my cat what he prefers, and he seems to be pretty happy with any day of the week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But Bill had a live stream going first, so we gave him a couple hours. Thought we'd let him get through his, and then Trenny and I'd get ours fired up.
Yeah.
This is probably the most unique. Well, now I'll tell you, I was really impressed with Stock and Barrels single malt, and this has got to be rival. This is a direct. Rivaling it.
So
Just
first impressions, what are you thinking? First impressions, what are your thoughts? Like just off the bat.
Well, that's why I say delicious. One of the best Canadian whiskeys I've had, and I don't mean that in a bad way. To me, a lot of Canadian whiskeys, and when you think of Crown Royal, they're light.
Garbage water. It's got to be
ABVs are low. You get sweet rye notes. I had a live stream Friday night. I just talked about the bourbon mash, Crown Royal bourbon mash that's available in the States.
Yeah.
This has one of the best flavor profiles that I've had.
Yeah, this one, the Union 52, like it's a good one to take your time with and let it kind of open up in the glass and even add a drop or two of water here or there. Even though I definitely find with these whiskeys that are older, the less water, the better, because it kind of breaks it down. It almost like diminishes what the blender was meaning to do. But I honestly think, and people out there can watch our Union 52 review video, and it ended up being like one of our top whiskeys of the year this year, 2017, because it grows on you. It's like you said, it's very unique, and you can't find that in other whiskeys. A lot of Canadian whiskey, I think the big problem is like you can take a whiff and you know what the hangover is going to feel like. So in this case, it's like it's quality and it's there. And there's these subtle kind of rye notes, and like the difference between Canadian rye and American rye is a little bit more like spicy and a little hotter, where Canadian rye is, it kind of diminishes on the palate and it's swift and it's gone. It has like that. It's a really good mixture of both, I find.
Yeah. Kind of a vanilla cream with it.
Yeah, for sure. I describe
Definite.
it as like vanilla bean ice cream.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
We've got, fact is, I just had earlier tonight a little bit of vanilla bean ice cream that we have, and as soon as you said that, definitely.
Yeah, it's on there. Yeah, but again, the mellow rye spice.
And I can see how this would make it into your one of your whiskeys of the year.
Yeah, because I mean, sometimes those whiskeys of the year, it's ones that take you by surprise. They're not even necessarily the best thing you've ever tasted. It's just something that's you may not be able to put your finger on it. And those are the things that like surprise you, stick with you, something that sticks in your brain. It's like the first time you try like my first peated whiskey I ever tried was Lafroig Quarter Cask.
Mm.
And I remember the exact moment because it sticks with you forever. And it's kind of a similar idea to me.
Yeah. Just it's very vegetal as well, grassiness, and almost like the maltiness and stuff with it.
Yeah, and like you said, there is a bit of a lemongrass thing going on there too, like a, I don't want to say like Thai food, but something along those lines.
Whiskey Dick is with us, and he said he's going to do another shot of Booker's.
Oh, beautiful. Is he going to ask, are you going to do like a shot? Like a boom.
He might be in his state. He's had a few.
Yeah. Well, hey, we might be doing a shot of something cask strength in a couple minutes. Well, in an hour or so too.
Whiskey Throttle has a good comment here, and he's in Canada as well, but he says something to think about is Canadian whiskeys are often owned by big non-Canadian corporations, and they're more into sales than quality.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. But you know what? It's funny because last year, C and I went to like a masterclass tasting of all the single malts that have been released in British Columbia, and that could not have happened 5 years ago. Like the whiskey that we tasted was under 5 years old because all these new distilleries are opening up, and all throughout Canada, it's becoming a huge movement here. Just where I live, in the Cowichan Valley, we've now have like a artisan distillery license, so people can start opening distilleries. And we just had one open up, like of vodka distillery and gin, and they're going to start doing a rye as well. So I think it's true. There's these huge corporate, conglomerate corporations that do whiskey and really have no say in the quality. But it's I can almost guarantee in the next 10 years or so, Canadian whiskey will be higher on the map for quality.
Well, I think the last couple of years, like I say, even with what Stock and Barrel had done, we've got samples of the Lot 40 cask strength. We haven't got in.
Oh, that's nice stuff.
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
This stuff here, Weiser's is doing some amazing stuff up there. So I think it's coming for sure.
Yeah, and one thing that we should mention too is like where we are in British Columbia, a bottle of Glenlivet, say, is still like $75. So the expense is huge for whiskeys, but Canadian whiskeys are still very well priced here. So we're pretty lucky to actually be able to. We did a Canadian whiskey shootout, and we went to the liquor store to restock some of our Canadian whiskeys. 5 bottles, and it came to like $100. I one bottle for about 120 of like really good single malt. So
Whiskey Throttle wants to know if you've tried the Stock and Barrel or two brewers.
No, I personally have not. And it's actually funny because we just went to the Victoria Whiskey Fest. And we see the Two Brewers whiskey there, but there were just so many to choose from. And I was telling you earlier, in British Columbia, we had like a prohibition style raid that just happened that they went in to restaurants in British Columbia and raided the shelves of the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society bottlings because they're not go through the liquor distribution branch. But anyway, so yeah, there's all these whiskeys that we wanted to try, couldn't because all of a sudden they weren't allowed to be there on the table and you could look at them. They're like it's like window shopping, but you couldn't do anything about it. So we have not tried the two brewers. Actually, I haven't tried Stock and Barrel yet either.
How much? Can I ask what the Union 52 set you guys back?
I tell you, right here, this bottle was $69.99.
That's pretty damn good.
Really good for around here. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
Can I read you the tasting notes out of this little pamphlet here?
Yeah, you bet. Do it.
Union 52, the J.P. Wiser's master blender married the last barrel of a 52-year-old Highland malt Scotch from their archives with their finest 16-year-old Canadian whiskies to create this unique, rich, smooth blend. A union of new and old world styles, resulting in a whiskey that has complex notes of sourdough bread, green apples. I don't personally get the green apples, but rich toffee, hint of mesquite. On the palate, with honeycomb, with creamy vanilla and pleasant smoke. This is a truly rare whiskey that will never be able to be made again. There is that slight smoke on there on the finish, for sure. But it's. We ended up buying a full bottle just to have in like our collection for. Either we can. We actually tried to get PewDiePie to buy it from us, but he hasn't responded. So we might just save it till, I don't know. One of us will die, and then we'll drink it on his deathbed.
Let me ask you, Michael Kovac is asking, are there any budget whiskeys that you think will skyrocket in price by this time next year? I'm thinking Henry McKenna 10 and Speyburn 10 are early candidates. That's from Michael.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny because, again, it depends where you're from. Like if you're in the United States, every state has different kind of, guidelines of what the prices are. For in Canada, that Henry McKenna is already skyrocketed. Like it's.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. It's like $130. But where in Canada,
how much?
This guy. We have the Canadian Club 100% rye.
Did you just say Henry McKenna 10 years, $130 there?
It's depending on where you're from. It's very expensive. Yeah.
Huh.
In fact, we don't even have it in BC yet. But this guy is really, really good. And hopefully it stays well priced. I'm not sure if it will, but I think, with the amount of influence Trenny C has on our ratings of whiskey, I'm sure it will skyrocket.
Henry McKenna, the 10-year bottle and bond comes up a lot because it still runs. Now, well, I think the first bottle of it that I bought was $22, $23, and it's up now. It's $29 here, but it's still around. And that comes up a lot when people think of kind of hidden gems or, what to buy that might skyrocket. The only thing is you don't know. I mean, you can go back 5 years and you think about whiskeys you used to see on the shelf that you can't ever find anymore.
Completely. Or so a really good example for around here. I've always been a really big Highland Park fan, and Highland Park 12-year-old was kind of like a staple in my place. And I think about 6 years ago, I was buying it for $59 was the price for it, and that was like pretty reasonable. Now it's up to about $80 a bottle around here. It's too bad because Highland Park 12-year-old, as amazing as it can be, it seems to also be going down in quality and up in price. And I don't know,
Now,
That's just me,
I haven't noticed a difference in the quality on the Highland Park 12. It's remained a staple, I've thought, but it runs it normal here is $50 or $55.
Yeah, that's American prices are amazing. Canadian,
But
not so much.
as far as the bourbon boom that's going on, it's just amazing what's happened over the last 5 years. Just what we've seen, and we're in Wichita, Kansas, and what you used to see on the shelves and what you can't find anymore. And kind of like in Canada, all the new distilleries that are popping up, and they're all cranking out, a 2 or a 3-year-old bourbon and slapping $50 on it. And 9 out of 10 aren't worth it.
We've learned our lesson with that, actually, because not to name any brands here, but Chuckanut. Have you tried Chuckanut from Washington?
No.
It tastes like it sounds.
That sounds like something you made up, actually. That's that's shenanigans.
Yeah, no, like that's maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong, but anyways, a lot of these bottles are like around here. So we bought that Chuckanut for it was either just under or just over $100 for the bottle, and we kind of researched it after, which is a huge mistake, rookie mistake.
Right.
Always research first.
Yes,
but you find out after it's like up to 6 months old.
Wow.
Like, and it tastes like it. It's like that. It just tastes like raw cask and raw spirit.
Yeah.
So we've learned, we've done that with a few different things. Like I know Rocktown is another that a lot of people seem to really like, but it's just not jiving with us. But similar thing around here is over $100 for a bottle of Rocktown, and it's under 2 years old.
Let's move on. Since we're talking Highland Park, let's move on to I'm going to save a little bit of my Union 52 and kind of let it sit. And it's already, we poured this about 15, 20 minutes ago, and it's already developed and gotten creamier and more richer on the palate.
Add water to it?
Nope. Neat.
Like,
what did you say the ABV was?
I think it's 43%. One little drop, and it really does like kind of bring out the fruit. It's nice.
I added one little drop.
Okay. Boom.
Now, for those tuning in that don't know, the Highland Park Magnus or Magnus, I'm not sure. I've heard it both ways.
I think it's Magnus.
Magnus. It's a new non-age statement entry from Highland Park. In our area, this is a $30 bottle. Compared to the 12-year, which is a $50 bottle. Now, in some markets, they're the same price.
Yeah, and it's for us. This is a very new release around here, and I think it's probably a new release in general, especially with the new kind of packaging and everything. What do you think about the new packaging of the Highland Park bottles?
I like it. I like it myself.
Yeah, I like it. The only problem I kind of have with it is you can't on the bottle.
Well, kind
of like the Bruichladdich.
Yeah. Now, also, Trenny, if you didn't know, did you know that besides having a cork, it also has it's also a screw cap. It screws on. You could pop it in, then it'll screw on about halfway to secure it.
Oh, wow. Okay. My new favorite.
I never knew that either. We had it and reviewed it, and someone else pointed it out later. I'd never even noticed it.
A really brilliant thing. Because a lot of these corks, like on older bottlings, for example, we bought a Douglas Lang old malt cask. Is it Douglas Lang that does that? Anyways, of Lafroig 94, and you can watch the video, and we uncork it, and it just shatters inside the bottle. Might help prevent some of that the early decay of those corks.
Yeah. And help seal it also if the cork does decay.
Exactly, yeah. So one thing I want to say about Highland Park, people that know our show know that Highland Park's one of my favorites, like ever. And they're kind of coming out with all these like no age statement whiskeys, which a lot of distilleries are doing right now. So I'm still kind of torn between if they're keeping up the quality. And I come back to this bottle and like I had a little sample tonight earlier, and I thought it was really, really good. But on initial opening, I was kind of torn between, you know, I just don't know yet. I just don't know.
Well, to me, like I say, so this is Highland Park 12 is $50.
Yeah.
This is $30. It's the cheapest Highland Park in our area, so it's their intro. And I think you have to keep that in mind. You're not getting, a 12-year, a 15-year, a 18-year. Don't expect all of that. But for a $30 bottle, I love it. I think it's great for that.
Yeah, and you know what? That is a really good point because around here, this bottle's $45, and that is easily the cheapest single malt you can buy. That's
Right.
cheaper than the McClellan's like Isla and Speyside and all that. So, yeah, for something that you can just buy on a budget, and the average person can go out, on payday and pick up a bottle of half decent single malt. Absolutely. But yeah, this one's good. Like the color, I mean, the color is pretty light, so it's obviously not aged too long. But I did hear that it's up to about 8 years old. Got a light straw kind of color to it. It still has those Highland Park characteristics where it's got like the heather and the honey and a little bit of the saltiness. This one has a bit of that barbecue kind of like gristle thing to it too.
Now, what got me, we had Chad and Sarah from It's Bourbon Night on a live stream, and we talked them into doing a Scotch with us, and we had to keep it kind of budget priced in mind, but we had them look for this one, and they're in Louisiana, not Louisiana, Kentucky. And I think it was like $28 there, so they picked it up. They thought the peat was strong in this one. They thought they were smoking a cigar, and I hardly get any. I get just like the faintest wisp, about like the smoke that's in that Union 52.
Yeah,
just that faintest wisp of smoke. That's what I get off of this. But they were someone that's new to it. They were really picking up the smoke that's in here.
and I think that's like a common thing with people that are getting into single malt Scotch whiskey, though. Like, I've my mom who doesn't drink whiskey, Scotch specifically at all. She'll try a Glenlivet and be like, "Oh, it's so smoky." So I think that's just kind of the characteristic of Scotch if you don't really know it very well. And I agree. I don't get a lot of that in this bottling. However, they've just come out with one called Valkyrie. Have you guys tried the Valkyrie one?
Yep.
Yeah, this guy right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I find this one like way more kind of like road tar, sort of asphalt kind of a smell and flavor to it, which is different for Highland Park.
Yeah. To me, I like that one as well, and I thought it was a very good combination of both the peat and the sherry, which is hard to do.
But the peat's there, right?
Yeah. Now, Whiskey Throttle, he points out that he thinks that Highland Park shot themselves in the foot with this one, which I disagree. I think for a $30 bottle, I think it's great.
I gotta agree because there's like when I'm gonna go buy a bottle and it's between $45 for this or $58 for the Glenlivet Founders or whatever, the blue box. Well, it's blue around here with no age statement. I'd probably go with this one, and it's cheaper, and I think the quality is there. Like Highland Park has always maintained good quality. They don't really put anything on the label right now, which I think could be shooting themselves in their foot. But on their website they claim to never add color and it's non-chill filtered. So I wish they would put that stuff on the label, but you know, they claim that it's all natural. Au naturel. Yeah. Hey, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, hold on.
On the bottom of your bottle there, on the back of the
Yeah,
Magnus, where does it say it's imported from or imported by?
I've got Edrington, America's New York, New York.
Yeah, same here. Does it have the Surgeon General warning that you shouldn't drink when you're pregnant?
There's one that has a. Have you seen the one? There's some that have a little icon, and it's got like a pregnant woman with the belly sticking
Yeah,
out, and the slash through it.
yeah. That's great. And then beneath it says, "Enjoy responsibly."
Um, Whiskey Throttle is the one that made that comment, and then he told me to check his other comment, which he's got up here. And he did go on to say after he thought they shot themselves in the foot, but he thinks it's better than the 10-year-old, but not as good as maybe as good as the 12. I've never had the 10. And Bart and I did this side by side with the 12, and I do prefer the 12 over the Magnus.
Oh yeah, I think like hands down. I actually, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me here, but I think the nose on the 12-year-old is better than the nose on the 18-year-old, and a lot of people think the 18-year-old is like ever. But however, I find the flavor on the 18 better than the flavor on the 12. But as we all know, like I can sit and nose a whiskey all day and have probably as much pleasure doing that as drinking it. The problem is I don't get drunk smelling whiskey.
And you won't get pregnant either that way.
Mm. Well, yeah, it definitely won't help.
That's what you're.
So you guys don't get the 10-year-old where you're from.
I've never seen the 10-year-old, and I think I've heard that it's not a U.S. Bottling.
Yeah, I think it was a Canadian release, and this is it here. So it's got I didn't mind it. I think that this one is better, the Magnus, but there still is the age statement on here, which kind of, you know.
Now, how much did that one go for though up there?
This was, I think, about $55.
So quite a bit more.
Yeah, quite a bit more. It's way more honeyed. It's like a honeyed version. Where this has a little bit of that kind of petroleum in it. So yeah, we should probably talk about the nose and the flavor on this one.
I'm already halfway through it.
I get smoky barbecue gristle, honey, some caramel, some salted, like that salted caramel apple kind of thing. Like darker kind of fruit notes, like a dried dark fig.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, there's like this other kind of like syrupy, like peach sort of syrup kind of thing to it.
Well, they actually used, there is a lot of ex-sherry cask used with this. And when I first did it, I didn't know that, and I'd mistaken it for bourbon cask because there's a lot of vanilla as well, right, and more of a lighter citrus sweetness to me. There's some of that very slight sherry, along with that very slight peat is present as well.
Yeah, well, and on color, like it doesn't really show that it's much for like sherry influence,
right?
Like it doesn't look like there's much on there.
Yeah, it is very light, and I believe I've heard it's natural color as well. Which, if someone added color, they forgot, then, or if they added color, they didn't add very much.
Yeah, exactly. And then on the flavor, I mean, it has those kind of. I do find the nose on this one almost better than the flavor. Like the nose, you're expecting a little bit more of that kind of honey and caramel and like those classic Highland Park flavors. But now that I've had a couple of drinks, I think it's tasting pretty fucking good.
Now, see, I'm going reverse of what you said. You thought the nose was almost better. I think the nose is pretty light on it, and the palate is by far better.
Okay, interesting. This one's opening up more and more the more I get to know it. Like I said, this bottling only came out around Christmas around here. And so I've tried it a handful of times, and every time I try it, I find it to be a little bit better and better.
Mhm.
I originally, when I first opened the bottle, like the difference between drinking hard water and soft water, I felt like it had a soft water kind of feel to it, which kind of turned me off at first on the flavor. But the more I get to know it, it's quite a bit better.
And well, okay, let's see. DDIY network. What's that? Did Dougie? No, DD. What's the DDIY network?
Drunk drivers?
Drunk driver itself,
Yeah.
yourself network.
Yeah.
Did you guys try the full volume? We have not had that one yet.
Of
Highland Park full volume, and I want to say it's a 17-year-old.
Oh,
They
okay.
actually say it's 17 years old. I've seen good reviews on it. People say it's like a pineapple explosion.
Oh, okay. Cool. Because
But yeah, we haven't had that one.
I've tried some, some older bottlings of these Highland Park ones, and I think back in the day, they were almost like the Cavalan bourbon cask expressions, where they had a little bit of that sort of like tropical fruit
Uh-huh.
on it, a lot more. And now they've kind of got more into that sort of uh, oak char and a little bit of the peat. And I think it's been said before, but Highland Park is interesting because it encompasses kind of every flavor in Scotland. It's got a little bit of that sherry influence. It's got a little bit of that peat. It's a little bit of the smoke, a little bit of the citrus. Like it kind of encompasses all the areas, like Speyside, Isla, the islands, the herbalness of the Highlands, the kind of almost Irish flavor of the lowlands. Like it's I think for a lot of people that don't know Highland Park or in general should start with Highland Park once they've kind of gotten to the flavors of things like that.
A couple things real quick, and DDIY network tells us it's the don't do it yourself network. They should have a lot of people watching that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Chris Oakes points out that the full volume is an 18-year-old, so I was wrong. I thought it was 17, but yeah, I knew it had either 17 or 18 on it. He says it's 18-year-old. Which
and what's the strength on that normally?
I'm not sure on the ABV here.
Does he know?
Do you know what the strength is on that, Chris? Now, I will tell you, we didn't talk to the Magnus in the U.S. version, probably the same as Canada's 40%.
Yeah, it's 40%, and it packs quite a punch for 40%, I gotta say. Like it's full of flavor, where some of these 40%ers do taste like if you were to add a drop of water, it would completely kill it. Where this, I think you probably could add a drop of water and it might open it up a bit more.
And then I want to point out Malted in Montreal. Swami says that his wife calls him the pineapple explosion, and that's not what she told me the other night.
Yeah, okay.
That's not what she called him the other night when I was over there.
Yeah. Minute Maid.
That's a good
one. Sorry, Swami.
Yeah, we like to have fun at Swami's expense sometimes.
Oh yeah, always. Hey, Swami tuned in with Trenny C. Actually, I think it was on Food Quig. He was live streaming at the Whiskey Fest in Victoria here, and we tuned in with Swami for a couple minutes, but we couldn't hear shit. We saw his mouth moving, but nothing else. So thanks for tuning in, and cheers, mate. What's everyone else drinking tonight? They gotta start posting what they're drinking.
Are you seeing the comments rolling over there?
On my side?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No. You update me on the comments and I'll respond. So again, this kind of has like this Also, do you guys in the United States, do you have butter tarts?
No, I don't know what that is.
Okay, a butter tart is kind of like it's almost like pecan pie. You know? Do you guys have pecan pie?
Oh yeah, but I don't like it.
Yeah, yeah. Me neither. But butter tarts are kind of a similar thing without the pecans. It's basically just like butter and brown sugar and the filling.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, that's good then.
Yeah, anyways, that's what I get on the aftertaste of this one.
Here's what we're getting so far. DH Sylv 2 has Compass Box No Name. Fletch U is drinking Lagavulin 16. Whiskey Throttle has Orphan Barrel 20 year. That's a couple years old bottling.
Have you tried that one?
I've had maybe the 20, just samples of the 20 and the 22, I think, and I've got a bottle of the 23, but I haven't opened it yet.
Okay, we at one of our spirit releases got the Orphan Barrel, and it was one of our first reviews that we ever did. So we're really green around the gills in those early videos, and like, what do you think it tastes like? Oh, I don't know. What do you think it tastes like?
Well, I just commented. Now, let's go back a little ways. Sure. Early on, and when did you guys start review? When was your first review, or when did you get fired up?
It was January or February of 2016. We've been doing it for just a little over 2 years, I think.
I bet you it was 15. Was it 16, you think? I don't know.
I can't remember. I don't know.
I can remember I was up one night watching videos, perusing, and you had your Compass Box Lost Blend review, and that was the first one I'd watched.
Oh, okay.
And that was probably like your 8th review or somewhere in there. It was even early on. But I liked your guys' chemistry, and just you guys kind of like me and Bart, just like, the banter that you guys kind of had back and forth. And really, our channel and your channel, I think, were about the first ones that really kind of started. We kind of had challenges. You guys do this and we'll do that. I don't even remember what all we did, but there was a couple challenges that went back and forth, and really you kind of started just two channels communicating back and forth, doing different things.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think we kind of thought the same, like, where, a couple of years ago, whiskey channels or whiskey in general was kind of looked at as something like, well, it tastes like this. It's like art critics,
Yeah.
Where our two channels are kind of trying to have a little bit more fun with things. And I think it's kind of growing in the whiskey world that it's supposed to be fun, and you're supposed to have, enjoy what you're doing, and you can't take it too bloody seriously, because today you're just drunk.
That's kind of what we thought too. Let's we just kind of wanted to bring a lighter side, and some humor to it as well, and just bring something a little bit different. And now, we got Trenny C out there. Subscribe.
Yeah, Trenny C, subscribe. All you, Scotch Test Dummies fans, come over to the dark side. I don't know. I don't know. It's been a lot of fun, and I think the big thing is nobody's an expert, right? We're all learning. And as you try new whiskeys and try new expressions like that, Union 52, at the time that I tried it, I had never tasted anything quite like it. So it's all just kind of this journey of learning flavors and kind of building that database of things to pull from. So you can't rush it. So I think for you guys and ourselves, it's kind of happened relatively naturally. And like you guys and like ourselves, our early videos, we were, we didn't completely have that chemistry yet, but it kind of develops over time where you can, make fun of each other a little bit more and just be more comfortable in front of the camera.
Yeah. And bringing it in, I'm just bringing up, we've made so many friends, just getting to interact. I mean, just getting to know the other whiskey tubers. getting to know everybody, you know, and stuff, and just doing live streams with them. It's such a blast.
Absolutely. It's amazing how it's cool that it's such a big community and it's so far and wide, like Rob from Whiskey and the Six, another Canadian, but you and I are probably sitting closer to each other now than him and I. You know what I mean? Like geographically.
Yeah.
Like Canada is so huge, but we're still both Canadians. Yeah. It's interesting.
Well, tell us, before we went live, you was telling me you were at the Whiskey Festival. But Whiskey Throttle is asking if you think the liquor inspectors in BC are sampling the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society bottlings. So, but just
100%, 100% there.
Just tell us a little bit that there was. Hold on, just a second. Cowbell. I got a super chat come in from the Whiskey Dick. First one.
Nice.
We got a little cowbell sound. More cowbell. But,
excellent. So yeah, kind of what happened in British Columbia is we had these prohibition style raids on the society. They through 4 or 5 different restaurants that were serving those bottlings. The police went in and raided and took away those bottles because they're not buying them from the liquor distribution branch, which liquor being sold in British Columbia basically has to be vetted through that system. The Scotch Malt Whiskey Society is a private club. It doesn't get vetted the same way. So that happened ironically the day before the biggest whiskey festival in Canada. So, you know, C and I went in there and it's a huge ballroom filled with tons and tons of whiskey and tons of people. And everyone's like, Trenny C, how's it going? Hey, Trenny C, how's it going? We're like, hey guys. No, that basically didn't happen. But I
was believing you. That was a good story.
Yeah, well, in our minds, I think we thought people knew who we were, but they're just like, what are you staring at? Anyways, I walked the perimeter of the room, and every time we saw like a really cool bottle that we wanted to try, ended up being one of the unvetted whiskeys from that we couldn't try. It was window shopping. It was annoying. So yeah, to answer the question, I think they raided those bottles and brought them back to the station and were sampling them themselves for sure.
What was some of them that the whiskey festival though that weren't serving? I mean, some of the brands and stuff that you talked about, you was disappointed in.
Well, it was disappointing. So, for example, like Springbank, they were serving the 10-year-old, but everything else in their lineup, they had the bottles and you could look at them, but you could not try them. Same with Gordon and MacPhail bottlings. You couldn't try the majority of those because they're not sold in regulated British Columbia liquor stores. Like that. So there was a few different ones where we were, you guys have probably a pretty big whiskey collection, as we do, and you go to these whiskey festivals and you want to try something different.
Yeah.
Try things you haven't tried before. And when you're only able to try whiskeys that you can get in your own province, it made it a little bit frustrating. However, having said that, we did get to try some of the Canadian whiskeys there were incredibly good. Like the Weiser's 35-year-old was unbelievably good. One of the whiskeys at that festival, I'd say. There was some definite highlights for sure.
Well, and I think he's rubbing it in, but Whiskey Throttle says that they could taste those at their festival in Edmonton just the week before.
Ah, you bastard. Well, yeah, the raids didn't happen there.
And he pointed out earlier too that they were partner bars basically of the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society.
Right. Well,
is that all that was and that's all that was raided? Was
Mm-hmm.
just the partner bars is what was rated for these bottling Scotch Malt Whiskey Society bottlings.
Yeah, well, I mean, British Columbia has these like archaic rules from, before Canada was even a country of how they treat liquor, and we're completely different. Like Alberta, you can go into Costco and buy alcohol, and us British Columbians, we go over there and buy Costco liquor because it's way cheaper. It's way cheaper. There's better selection. The rules aren't as stringent. But yeah, it's British Columbia kind of has been semi screwed when it comes to alcohol.
Let's move on. I'm going to go back. I'm going to take a quick sip on the Union 52.
Yeah.
And before we went live, we both poured a Oberlauer. Or no, wait, do you still have your Oberlauer out?
No, I'll pour that right now.
A nice Oberlauer Abunad.
So
and I had batch 57 and you had batch 49.
Yeah, batch 49, 60.1% alcohol. Yeah. I've had this for a couple of years now. It's kind of one of those ones that we only pull out on special occasions because it's up there in price around here. But
yeah,
it's a special night.
I tell you, it's one though. Every time I pour it, every time I go to it, I'm reminded of just how good it is.
It really is. I've tried different batches, and they don't, they don't ever fail. I don't know what people think about just regular Aberlour 10 and 12 and whatnot, but this Abuna, or however you say it, is like incredibly good. Yeah, I'll replace that.
Well, in the Union 52, I'm not noticing that much difference. It's been, from when I last went to it about 20 minutes ago. Still, it's still delicious though.
It's good. It's one of those ones too, because it's, once you've tried some Magnus and Scotches and going back to kind of Canadians, you're not going to get the full change, but.
Now you guys saw Dr. Was it the master distiller from Wiser's at the festival?
Yeah,
didn't
Dr.
You?
Don.
Don.
Yeah, we met.
Yeah, Dr. Don.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you talk to him?
Guy. It was hilarious because he and I feel really bad for this because I don't like somebody could be like, hey Trenny, how's it going? They're like, I'm sorry, like we traveled Asia together for 6 months. Like, I don't know. Anyways, but he's like Trenny C, and that was kind of cool.
Oh, good, nice.
Yeah, because we're like, oh, you're the dude from Wiser's. That's awesome. Anyways, we hung out with him for a little bit there, and he is clearly very good at what he does. Uh-huh. He is passionate about it. He is not only the distiller there, but he's also kind of like, he's at these festivals. He's the ambassador to his own brand. And Wiser's is huge. In Canada, that's as big as you get for a whiskey, basically. So he doesn't have to follow these whiskey festivals around if he doesn't want to. And he does because he's very passionate about what he does.
Now, the super chat come in from Blind Whiskey Reviews.
Nice.
Blind Whiskey Reviews is going to be impressed right here because that's John. John Boyer's his name. He's new, brand new. He just sent me an email the other night and he posted his first video. And actually, I watched it. It's pretty decent. Any guys watching, if you want to go check out Blind Whiskey Reviews, go give him a look-see. I'm even going to give him another cowbell just for that one.
There we go. Oh, I just want to mention our reviews come out on Thursday nights. We do kind of unboxings and random crap on Saturdays, and then on Tuesdays we've started a new segment called Whiskey Talks, and that's where we, Trenny and C get really deep and to the point on some very, very important topics, like, you know, eating expired food and things like that. Our review tomorrow night is actually the Victoria Whiskey Festival video, and so if you guys know Food Quig, Spirit Safe, those guys are featured in that video as well because we met up with them there. So check it out.
Trenny C.
Drinking whiskey.
I do love your guys' intro that you've always had, you know, and it's kind of a parody or whatnot. You know, like you guys are sitting around reading and you'll start laughing.
Yeah, like this, like we just noticed the camera. That kind of thing.
Classic.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like yeah, that's good.
Well, another super chat came in from the Don't Do It Yourself Network. Thank you, guys. When is the circus opening? That is the Compass Box Circus, and that's going to take a special event. I do have some bottles that I've collected, but I don't hoard, and I view it as they will be opened at some time. It just takes the right occasion.
I think whiskey's meant for the drinking. It's not, you know, like what are you going to get out of a whiskey that's sitting there doing nothing besides sitting there?
Right.
Really, you know. There's one bottle. I'm going to show you one bottle that I have saved, and it's worth probably nothing, but this one right here. In 2013, I went to Scotland to whiskey school to learn how to distill whiskey, and it's like something I've wanted to do for a very long time. But the graduation present for everybody, there were 16 people in this school. The graduation present was this bottle, my name, which you shouldn't see, and
too late.
But yeah, it's just a unique blend of 28 selected Speyside single malts bottled specially for whiskey school, aged 10 years, 40.4% alcohol.
Nice.
And it's you know, probably worth nothing, but I think it's pretty cool.
So you're saying, you know, you won't open it, or at some point you will open it?
I will, but it has to be a very special occasion, like, I don't know, like when my cat has kittens or something. Anyway, what's one of your special bottles in your collection there?
I love my Compass Box bottlings, and I've got them. They're all up top up there.
I see the Lost Blend there.
Where?
Have you guys is that the Lost Blend behind you?
You know, all I've had is a sample of it. If you look up there to the top right of the Compass boxes,
yeah,
up a little bit, there's a wooden box right about there. That's a Compass Box Hedonism Maximus. That's from, I think, 2007, 2008. It's I think there were 1,200 bottles of it made, if I remember right, and it's like a 42-year-old. It's a grain, which the Hedonism is a blended grain Scotch.
Right.
And that one's pretty special. My Booker's Rye is up there. I got a little bit left of it. I'd like to have a spare bottle of that, but I don't.
Yeah. There's a lot of those ones you just can't find again sometimes. So you're a Compass Box guy.
I love Compass. We started with the core range. We did Peat Monster, Oak Cross, Asila, even the Orangey, Spice Tree, Hedonism. Then we started doing some of the special editions, but the core range of Compass Box is just amazing. It really is.
Yeah, it really is. It's actually relatively well priced for what's in the bottle. And one thing I really like about Compass Box is that they're out on the line. Like they give you the exact percentages of what's in their mash bill, and I think that's pretty unique for a company to do.
A couple comments. Let me address my shelves. Were here first, and then the whiskey show came in and took over. Now, all of these shelves over here, which you can't see from there, but those will get replaced. I'll get some actual bookshelves to put in there with those up there on the wall.
Right.
So the rest of these are good. They're actually pretty solid. And the super chat from Eric Waite. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.
Go, Eric. And while you're at it, subscribe to Trenny C.
Yeah, subscribe to Trenny C. And Blind Whiskey Reviews. He's got John Boyer's in here with us. Well, since we're giving shout outs, the Whiskey Dick is in here watching. Anybody that's watching, check out his channel. Whiskey in the Six, Malted in Montreal. I'm trying to think who else has been in here watching.
Here, I got a list of some shout outs we could do.
Food Quig.
Food Quig, of course. We got Solag. We've got Malted Man Cave.
Yeah, Keith. He's been in here.
Yeah. No Nonsense Whiskey.
Getting Weird with the Beard.
Yeah. Malted in Montreal. All those dudes.
If we skipped you, I apologize.
Yeah. So this Aberlour Abana, do you take a bit of water with your cask?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah. I'm gonna take a little bit here too. I had a little bit, but sometimes these cask strength ones they open up quite nicely after about 10-15 minutes in the glass.
Just the chocolates though.
So good.
Yeah, orange chocolate.
Yeah, it's like those Terry's chocolate oranges.
Yep. Faint wisps of smoke with it, and the dark fruits, the figs, plums, raisins.
Yeah, there's definitely that citrus kind of salt on it. It is one of the best out there.
Eric Waite just says he just subscribed to you guys. I figured everybody that was watching already knew about Trenny C and subbed to you.
Yeah, well,
you guys are over 2,000 subs now, aren't you?
Yeah. I think we're in like the 2,100 and somewhere in there.
You kind of hit a stale growth period there for a while, but then it just really started taking off again.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I think around Christmas and like springtime it seems to take off, and then summer nobody gives a shit about drinking scotch.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Anybody that's watching Blind Whiskey Reviews in the summertime, you will see a drop in your stats.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and we made the mistake. Oh,
yeah, got another one in Lloyd Fink, but Getting Weird with the Beard.
Perfect. Hey, everybody watching right now, if you could all just have one big slam at the same time, it's like this big kind of in unison brotherly love of drinking whiskey. Bizarre between you and me, Scott. Those cowbells are gonna get ring quite a bit more. Here we go.
I like the way you think. Yeah, everybody out there should do a shot.
3, 2, 1, everybody.
Yeah. Or just a taste.
Yeah, just a second. But what I was going to say is we made the mistake this summer of probably like our funniest videos we've ever done, and probably some of my favorite videos. We did this one, I can't remember what the bottle was for, but the whole thing was about subliminal advertising, and we had a lot of different like subliminal things in there. It was really funny, and it got like 30 views. It was summertime. It was summertime.
Yeah.
Nobody cared. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody that's watching, definitely in the fall, November, December, January, whiskey tubers will kind of see a spike in activity, maybe into February, but then it starts to slow down as the summer months roll along. Yeah. People are spending more time outside. They're just not watching. And I think part of it is too, with Christmas time, everybody gets new iPads, they get new computers, new phones, and they're sitting around, weather's nasty, and they're checking out YouTube. And then they see, you know, the Scotch Test Dummies, and they're like, holy shit, look at these guys.
Well, exactly. And then, you know, people like us, they're like, wait a minute, we can do this.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
What's been?
But no, it's a. Oh, what's that?
Well, I was going to ask, what's been one of your favorite shows that you and C have done?
Oh man, I think recently one of the. It actually was one of our drunkest shows, but and I can't even remember what whiskey we reviewed, but I think it's titled like drunk and did a whiskey review or something like that. And we dressed up in all hockey gear.
Oh yeah, I watched that one.
Yeah, and I was on rollerblades, and it was pretty fun. That was a really fun one. We have a couple of others from that night that we won't be releasing. But that was pretty fun.
Do you watch Mark's Whiskey Whistle? He's in South Korea. He's got one, and he deleted it, but he fell asleep while he was filming.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tried telling him, I was like, come on, Mark, you got to release that one. I want to see, we got to see this. And he's like, I've already deleted it.
We've been doing some like shootouts lately where we'll have eight different whiskeys, and then it goes between, 8 and then 4 and then 2. And at the end of the 15 minutes, you've drinking, I think, 14 different drinks. And I think those ones are pretty good. I mean, mainly because we feel fantastic by the end of them.
Yeah.
But those ones are a lot of fun to film. Also because it's like, I think a lot of people think that if they take it too seriously, then they say, well, how can you actually, review a whiskey and drink 14 drinks at one time? Well, we're not really reviewing. We're kind of going on first impressions and what our taste is at that moment. And it's like a bracket blowout, shootout between. It's like the NFL, teams get out of there every game. So those ones are a lot of fun to film. So how about you guys? What you've done lately?
Well, lately, our top fives are always good. Early on, we did the Ron Burgundy Scotch. I mean, like our 15th review, 12th review, or 15th review, and we're at 400 and some now. Yeah. But we did Ron Burgundy Scotch, and we dressed up. We got fake mustaches, and we did kind of a Ron Burgundy mashup or whatever you'd want to say. Yeah, it was hilarious. We just had a blast filming that one. The 12 hours of Boom last year, where we did 12 hours of straight live streaming. That was awesome. Yeah. We're starting to plan for this year's would be the second annual 12 hours of Boom. So what someone asked a little bit ago, the Whiskey Dick asked what are some bottles that you guys have coming up?
Oh man, let me check. So I'm sure you guys, the same as us, do a couple of videos a night, right?
If we get together, we try to shoot 3 or 4 at least. Yeah.
Okay, because there's been a couple of nights lately where we've done like 12.
Okay. Good. Good.
They don't all get released, but because you can redo them. But
well, you guys live an hour away, so you guys probably don't get together as often. Me and Bart can get together every week or every other week.
Right, and we try to every 2 weeks generally, about maybe 3. So we'll film like on average about 5 or 6 videos. But the ones that we're coming out with relatively soon, which I think are going to be really fun. Hold on, I'm just checking what we got on our video manager. Because we've done some lately that I think are going to be really, really good. Well, where are we? The one tomorrow is kind of fun just because it's different. It's us at the Whiskey Festival in Victoria. So you can kind of see the progression of us being over to completely shit-faced by the end of the video, which is always nice. We did one recently that we Tomatin shootout, but it was both of our first time trying Tomatin, and so around Christmas, around the checkout shelves, they came up with this little box set of the 50 milliliter 18-year-old. And so we opened that up for the first time trying it, and that one's kind of fun.
Yeah, and in fact I've seen that little gift set as well. You got a bottle of George Stagg Jr. behind you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Whiskey Throttle wants to see you take a swig of that right out of the bottle.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do, right? This one is 65%. So... Woo! Shit just got real. Okay, so hey, what cast strength one do you have behind you?
None.
Yeah. Hey, you should open up that hedonism one.
No.
Huh?
No.
Oh yeah. Have a couple more shots, then we'll get you to do it.
Whiskey Throttle, just hold on. 2 for Whiskey Throttle for you. Now, how about the bottle of Wow?
Oh, yeah.
Same swig. I don't know about a swig. I'll take.
Wait. Is that small? What is that? A cast?
Yeah, no, yeah. This is the barrel proof.
Oh man, we can't get that where we're from, and you guys actually sent us a sample of it, and that is some of the best bourbon I've tasted in a long time.
Oh yeah. I've got a few extra bottles of it back in my storage room.
Oh man, can you send us a bottle?
If we meet up, I'll bring some. How's that?
All right.
Do I have to? I can't swig from. How about if I'll pour it in a glass?
No. Hey. Get back here. I did it out of the bottle. You got.
I know, but this way you can see how much I can't. You probably didn't actually drink any. That's quite a bit, actually. That's half ounce.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's fair.
So this might not be pretty, folks.
Things are going to get way more entertaining in about 5 minutes here. Nice. Hey, 1 second.
Woo! My goodness. That is so good. That bottle of wine.
You've got the cowbell. I've got this. There you go. That was for you doing a shot. This was actually in the same key as the cowbell.
That was B517, batch B517. Which is not as strong as last year's Stag at 72.05%. That's a killer right there.
Yeah, see, we don't get those bottlings in British Columbia. It's too bad. This Stag Junior here was, so once a year we have the Spirit release, as we've shown you the books for, and it's every November, the first weekend of November, first Saturday, and we get bottles that you can't get any other time of year that they import, and this was one of them from a couple of years ago, the Stag Junior, and I mean, I think this is a delicious bourbon, but the George T. Stagg, we haven't tried any of the Thomas H. Handy stuff. Like you just can't get it around here.
Actually, I think I've had Thomas H. Handy, I've had Stagg, I've had Weller's. To me, the Stagg is the best of the bunch, and I know a lot of people say that, but the Weller's is a wheated bourbon, and it's very good too. Yeah. The Stagg does have a little bit of a rye mash bill, and when you age that, most of those still have like have been aged for 15 years on the George T. Stagg. By far, still just my favorite bourbon of all the ones we've tried.
Really?
I mean, any of the releases, yeah.
Yeah. There's again, it's geography, where we're from. We can't get half of the stuff you guys can get there, and it's really too bad. And it's one man's garbage is another man's gold. So when we get some of these bottlings that most people probably pay like $12 a bottle for it because we can't find it.
Yeah, and Claire the Third is watching. He's the same. I know he loves the George Stagg releases. Josh Schleffer is watching. He agrees Stagg is the top of his BTAC list as well. Yeah. So if you ever have the chance, or you see him, or if someone offers you, which one do you want, or do you want to try, just go with the Stagg. Yeah. If they don't have the Stagg, go with the Weller.
Yeah, so the difference being one is completely wheated and one is has some rye in it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. We did get a Weller recently that was really, really good. Actually, Rob from Whiskey and the Six sent us that, and the Pappy Van Winkle. And have you guys tried that one?
Yeah, I've got that one over here too, matter of fact.
Yeah. And I mean, in British Columbia, that bottle is $500.
It's crazy. There's no way. Now this one is a couple years old. I got this for $90.
Okay. Yeah, that's over $500 here.
Last year, my store called me and they had one they set aside for me, but they wanted $169, and I turned them down.
Yeah.
I said, I mean, it's a 12-year bourbon, and it's the same as the Weller's 12. I go, it's not.
Yeah.
I know the secondary market. I know people are paying crazy prices for it, but come on, people, it's not a $500 whiskey. It's a 12-year-old wheated bourbon.
I really don't think that any whiskey is worth that price. Like,
well, I wouldn't go that far.
No, I would. I think it's all it's all based on. Maybe if it's so rare that you can't ever get it again, and it's it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the best thing you've ever tasted. But when we got that Lot B Pappy Van Winkle, looking online in our region, and it's being $500, $600, $700 a bottle, and you taste it, and it's like, yeah, it's really, really good, but is it worth that price?
Right.
Probably not.
No.
And anything. I mean, you could tell me that this Glendronach 12 is super, super rare. It's a delicious whiskey. Like, Glendronach 12 is amazing. Is it worth $700? Probably not. It's probably worth what you normally pay for it. But they put that price on it, right? Anyways, I'm rambling now.
I was looking at one comment. I was trying to see. DH Sylv 2 said Scott was okay paying $90 for barrel bourbon, which was like 10 years old. The Lot B is easily twice as good as that one. It depends on the batch of barrel bourbon. Now, I'll tell you, I haven't bought a barrel bourbon. We did barrel bourbon. We did a live stream with Bobby Childs, and he arranged for us to get a bottle of it, as we like to say, and it was good. Now it's cask strength as well, though. Van Winkle 12 is, and I've had Van Winkle 12 Lot B next to Weller's 12. I can't tell the difference. I've got both.
Really, there basically isn't one. It's the same mash bill and everything.
Yeah. It's a 45%. It's a 45% Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. And it's good.
My research, they literally take the exact same stuff from the same barrel, just age it a little bit longer or put it into higher quality casks.
Well, yeah. Different areas.
Exact same spirit.
Yeah, different areas of the warehouse supposedly age differently depending on humidity, temperatures, and that stuff.
Yeah.
So supposedly the Van Winkle Lot 12B is just hand-selected barrels from the Weller's 12. Whether or not that's true, I don't know.
That's what I've heard that too. Yeah.
And I've told. In fact, I was at a Christmas party. Well, one of my work Christmas parties, and I took this year's George Stagg with me, and it's 64%. And last year, I had taken one of the guys' samples of my Van Winkle 12, and he'd had it as well in another place. This year, he tried the George Stagg, and he was completely blown away by it. He knew somebody that had recently been offered either the Van Winkle 12 or the George Stagg. He said, I'm calling him and I'm telling him to get the Stagg over the Van Winkle.
Yeah.
And I agree.
Right. Yeah, it's again, kind of to my point earlier is one of the private liquor stores in Victoria, I think 4 or 5 years ago, they had the Pappy Van Winkle, and you could buy it for like a reasonable price, in the $75 range, and there was tons of it. And then because it got very popular all of a sudden, you couldn't even order it in the store, and when you did, they'd attach exorbitant prices to it. So it's kind of one of those demand and the demand for it outweighs what they have. What are you reading there?
A comment had come in. The Whiskey Scout had commented that he had seen an older. The Whiskey Scout travels around. He's a friend of mine, of Bart and I's. He travels around. Do what?
He's scouting whiskey.
Yeah. He had found an older bottling of the Elijah Craig barrel proof, but they wanted 120. So I was commenting what was the ABV on it. And sometimes liquor stores are like, sometimes when they're jacking up the prices, most of the time they're like a car lot as well. I mean, if they got 120 on there, if it's during the daytime and you got a manager that's working, you can say, hey, I'll give you $90 for that. A lot of times they'll take it.
And that's lucky. I mean, we have a store in Victoria that is kind of right in the downtown, the biggest tourist part of town. And they sell their bottles of whiskey for about $30 to $40 more per bottle. That's in the entire province. The biggest pain in the ass is they also get bottles that you can't get anywhere. So you're something that you really want, but you're also probably paying like 30% on what it would normally cost.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating, but I mean, sometimes you see something that you'll never find again and you got to do it.
Yeah. Well, and Duncan Harmsworth just points out that that's probably true as long as you don't live in a liquor control state. And that's true as far as the prices. If you know MSRP on a bottle is $90 and you go into a store and it's in there for $150, sometimes you can, if you make an offer somewhere, I mean, if I see that, depending on the bottle, and I know it's a $90 MSRP, they've got $150, I might say, hey, will you take $120 for it? If I feel it's worth that.
Right.
And, you know, sometimes they take it, sometimes they don't. But Duncan is pointing out if it's a liquor controlled state that they're not going to haggle on their prices.
No, I mean that is completely non-existent here. You can't haggle on something that's been brought about by the liquor distribution branch.
Right.
One thing about like going to Scotland, which I don't know if you guys have this there, but that I really liked is you can sample everything before you buy it.
Everything?
You guys have that?
We have it, but they won't have everything. A store might have 10 or 12 different bottles that are open that you can try.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that doesn't happen here. Like you can't drink open liquor in any kind of public store. So yeah, when I went to Scotland and you see I think it was a Springbank strength. I was like, can I try that first? I knew I was gonna buy it. You gotta try it. Anyways, I thought that was a really, really cool feature.
All right. Well, hey, well, we're at an hour and 30 minutes almost.
Okay. Well, it's been
finishing
fun.
Off with the Abelauer Abinad.
Yeah, delicious stuff.
Go back to the Union 52 here real quick. It might pale in comparison, though.
Yeah, well, you're drinking something 61% alcohol versus 43.
Yeah, that's pretty good next to it, though. That's still holding it. That Union 52 is still holding its own.
It does hold up to a lot of different whiskeys, and I think that's one of the reasons we chose it as our whiskey of the year, because it's unique. You won't find it again. It's well made. It has some flavor profiles that you just don't find in any other whiskey. And so, yeah, that's one of our whiskeys of the year for sure. If you guys can find it out there anywhere, buy it. Like, it doesn't exist anymore. So there you go. Hey everyone, thank you very much for watching. And if you haven't subscribed to Trenny C, please do leave comments. We comment back to every single comment left on our page. We try to do things a little bit differently than other whiskey reviewers. But hey, thanks for having us on your show. And by us, I mean me.
Yeah.
Here, this one's for C. This one's for me.
No, thanks for joining me again. I know you guys are interested. You want to get your own live streams up and going. I think they're a great addition to everybody's YouTube channel. People love it. They love the interaction, throwing some questions in there, being able to address it, challenging you to pull out the George Stagg Jr. and take a sip right off of the bottle.
Yeah. Should we have one of those? Hey, is there anyone out there that would like to see Scott do another shot?
Scott's got to work early in the morning. Anybody want to see Trini doing? Now it's 2 hours behind for you. It's only 9:20 there, so you got plenty of time.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Okay, well, I guess there is this Aberlour right in front of me here. I don't like to waste good whiskey, but as we always kind of say at Trenny C, it's our whiskey. We'll do whatever the fuck we want with it.
How about? No, I won't do it.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna make a challenge, but no.
What's the challenge?
People always expect a challenge.
Okay, here we go.
Well, hold on just a second.
Cowbell when I do this?
Or hold on just a second. Are you got the Abunad right?
Yeah. Hey, you can curse my name tomorrow when you're feeling like hell at work, and I'll do the same.
For $10, is somebody going to super chat $10 for us to sign off? We'll see. Careful.
Even if you don't.
Then yeah, give us play some.
There you go. Hey,
All right.
we should put that on iTunes. All right, here we go.
Yep.
There it is.
We'll just sign off. We didn't get the $10, so we'll just sign off. Thanks to everybody that tuned in. Appreciate it. Check out Trenny C if you don't know them. Check out everybody else that was in here with us tonight. And so long, you dummies.
Cheers. Here we go.